The moment you stand up to speak, your throat tightens and your brain starts scanning the room for danger. Not real danger, social danger. The kind that makes you feel like one wrong sentence will lower your value in everyone else's eyes. If you have ever felt your voice go a little thin, your hands not sure where to land, your smile stuck halfway, I know what that is. It is not weakness. It is your nervous system trying to keep you accepted. Most people think a compelling speech is about sounding smart. It is not. It is about making other people feel safe enough to follow your attention. That is the real job. You are not performing at them. You are carrying them with you from one clear moment to the next. I learned this the hard way in a conference room that smelled like dry markers and burnt coffee. I had notes. I had data. I had what I thought was a solid point. Then I looked up and saw the faces. Neutral. Polite. Eyes that slid away to laptops the second I paused. I kept talking anyway. I filled every silence. I tried to win them with more information. I walked out feeling like I had thrown a handful of pebbles at a window and called it impact. Later that day, I watched someone else present. No fireworks. No big voice. Just a calm person who spoke like they were talking to one human at a time. The room changed. People leaned in. They stopped typing. It looked like respect, but it was something simpler. They felt included. They felt like the speaker saw them. That is where impact starts. People do not resist your message first. They resist the feeling of being managed, lectured, or used. They resist the sense that you are trying to win something from them. The fastest way to lose a room is to speak like you are above it, even if you do not mean to. When I craft a speech that lands, I start with what the room is already carrying. The quiet questions they will not say out loud. Am I going to be blamed for this? Is this going to waste my time? Is this person going to talk in circles? Are they going to ignore what I care about? If I can name the real tension in the first minute, people relax. Their shoulders drop. Their eyes come back. Not because I am clever, but because I am honest. You can feel this in everyday life. Think about telling a friend something important. If you start with a perfect explanation, they might nod and still not really be with you. But if you start with the truth of the moment, like how hard it has been to say this, they come closer. That is emotional intelligence in speech form. You are not just delivering content, you are managing nervous systems, yours and theirs. A compelling speech has a spine. It is one clear human point, not 10 points, not a tour of everything you know. One point that can survive being repeated 3 times without sounding like filler. When I do not have that spine, I start collecting facts like armor. I tell myself I'm being thorough. What I am really doing is hiding. The audience can feel it. They may not name it, but they sense when a speaker is afraid to be simple. Simplicity is risky because it feels like exposure. If I say one clear thing, people can disagree with it. If I bury it in complexity, I can pretend I was never fully seen. Impact requires being seen. I think about a time I had to speak at a team meeting after a project went sideways. Everyone was tense. The room had that faint hum of defensiveness. People were ready to protect themselves. In that kind of room, if I come in with confidence that is too sharp, it reads as blame. If I come in too soft, it reads as weakness. The middle path is calm ownership. I spoke slower than I wanted to. I let a full breath happen before my first sentence. I kept my hands still on the table, not clenched, just grounded. My body said, I am not here to attack you, and I am not here to beg you. Body language is not decoration. It is the first paragraph of your speech. If your shoulders are lifted, your jaw tight, your eyes darting, you are telling people you do not feel safe. Then they will not feel safe either. If you plant your feet, relax your face, and let your gaze land on one person at a time, you are giving the room permission to settle. I also watch my pace. When I am nervous, I rush. Rushing is a hidden form of control. It is me trying to outrun judgment, but the audience experiences it as pressure, like I am pushing them downhill. When I slow down, it feels like respect. It gives people time to understand, and time is where trust grows. Here is something people miss about persuasion. The goal is not to make people agree. The goal is to make it easy for them to agree without losing dignity. Most people are not stubborn because they love conflict. They are stubborn because they do not want to look foolish or weak or late to the truth. If your speech makes them feel cornered, they will fight you even if you are right. So I frame things in a way that protects their identity. Instead of acting like I am correcting them, I talk like we are solving something together. I name the trade-off. I acknowledge what their side cares about. I make room for the part that is reasonable in their resistance. That does not mean I water down the message. It means I deliver it with empathy, which is a kind of strength. I remember coaching someone who had to pitch a new process to coworkers who hated change. They kept trying to sell the process like a product. More efficiency, better outcomes, cleaner reporting. It kept failing. Not because the idea was bad, but because the room heard a threat. They heard, "Your current way is wrong, and you are about to be inconvenienced by someone else's ambition." The shift happened when they started speaking to the fear under the surface. The fear of looking incompetent during the transition. The fear of extra work with no reward. The fear of being judged by new metrics. When they spoke to that, the room softened. People asked real questions. They started to imagine themselves succeeding in the new world, instead of defending themselves in the old one. A compelling speech also has images, not just concepts. People do not remember your abstract point. They remember the scene you gave their mind. If I say our communication needs to improve, it floats away. If I describe the moment a customer is put on hold, the music looping, the agent searching for an answer that is not documented, the customer sighing and deciding to leave, now the room feels the cost. Now the idea has weight. This is why stories work, but not the fake kind. Real stories have friction. They have a small embarrassment, a moment of uncertainty, a detail that proves you were there. The click of a pen, the fluorescent light, the pause where you did not know what to say. Those details build credibility without you claiming it. I also pay attention to the emotional arc. Not drama, just movement. If I stay flat, people drift. If I spike too hard, people brace. I want a steady rise and release. A little tension, then clarity. A little challenge, then a path. People listen best when they feel guided, not overwhelmed. Sometimes the most compelling thing I do is admit what is true about me. Not a confession to get sympathy, just a clean statement that removes the mask. Like acknowledging I am nervous because I care about getting it right. Or acknowledging I do not have all the answers yet, but I do have a clear next step. That kind of honesty reduces the audience's need to test you. When you stop pretending to be invincible, they stop hunting for the crack. There is also the question of structure, but I keep it human. I think in terms of attention. Where will they lose me? Where will they need a breath? Where will they wonder, why are you telling me this? I answer that question before they have to ask it. I connect the message to their lived day, their inbox, their commute, their relationship with their boss, their stress at 2 a.m. when they replay a meeting and wish they had spoken up. I have given talks where I could feel the room slipping. It is a specific sensation. Less eye contact, more shifting, a cough that turns into phone checking. In that moment, the worst move is to push harder. The best move is to come back to center. I shorten my sentences. I restate the point in plain language. I offer one concrete example. I let a pause happen. A pause is not empty. A pause is where people decide if they trust you. And I watch my need to be liked. That need is the silent killer of impact. If I am trying to keep everyone comfortable, I will avoid the sentence that matters. I will soften it until it means nothing. People may smile, but they will not change. Compelling speeches are kind, but they are not timid. They respect people enough to tell the truth cleanly. This shows up in personal life too. Think about apologizing. A weak apology is full of explanations. It is trying to escape consequences. A strong apology is simple. It names the harm, it names the feeling, it names the next behavior. That is a speech. It has impact because it meets the other person where they are, and it does not ask them to do emotional labor to decode you. I also think about endings. Most endings fail because the speaker runs out of time or runs out of courage. They trail off. They add one more point. They back away from the main claim. A good ending is a return to the spine. It is a final image or a final sentence that gives the room something to carry out the door. When I practice, I do not practice sounding perfect. I practice sounding present. I practice looking up at the moment I want to look down. I practice breathing before the sentence that scares me. I practice saying less. I practice letting my face soften. I practice being with the room, not above it. If you want your speeches to have impact, do not chase impact. Chase contact. Contact is when people feel you are talking with them, not at them. When you make contact, your words do not have to be loud. They just have to be true, clear, and timed to the human heart in front of you. And the quiet secret is this: the audience is not waiting for you to impress them. They are waiting to see if you will make it safe for them to be honest with themselves. When you speak that way, you do not just deliver a message. You give people a moment of clarity they can trust. That is what they remember. That is what changes them. That is impact.